risk, because it must be recounted with an enormous sense of responsibility, as much of the terrible things that have been said about him sadly seem to be quite accurate. This is a deeply personal exploration of the inner world of a human being who, in addition to being my father, headed up the most notorious mafia organization in human history. I wish to publicly ask my father's victims, every single one of them, for forgiveness. I am anguished by the devastation they experienced in the face of an unparalleled, indiscriminate violence that affected so many innocent people. I want them to know that today I seek to honor each of their memories with all my heart. This book will be written with tears, but without bitterness, not out of a desire to condemn or to seek vengeance, and without offering excuses to promote violence or attempt to justify wrongdoing. The reader will be surprised by the contents of the first chapters, in which I reveal for the first time the deep rift that yawns between me and my father's side of the family. After 21 years of quarrels with them, I'm convinced that a number actively contributed to the final events that resulted in my father's death. It is no exaggeration to say that we have been treated more harshly by my father's family than by his worst enemies. My actions toward them were always born out of love and an unconditional respect for the value of family, which must be held onto even in the chaos of war, and especially in the hardship of poverty. God and my father both know that I, more than anyone, wished fiercely to believe that this painful family tragedy was only a nightmare. I'm grateful to my father for his brutal honesty. It has been my fate to have to see him clearly, to face the man he was without justifying his actions in the least. When I asked for forgiveness in the documentary Sins of My Father, the children of the assassinated politicians Luis Carlos Galán and Rodrigo Lara Bonilla told me, "You are a victim too." My reply to that remains unchanged. If I am a victim, I am merely the last one on a long list of Colombians. My father was responsible for his fate, for his actions, for his life choices as a father, as an individual, and at the same time, as the criminal who inflicted on Colombia and indeed on the whole world deep wounds that are still being felt. I dream that one day those wounds might heal and become sources of good, so that nobody dares to repeat this story, but learns from it instead. I was not a blindly loyal son. I questioned my father's violent tactics while he was alive, and I repeatedly pleaded with him to abandon his hatred, to put down his arms, to find non-violent solutions to his problems. In all of people's wide-ranging opinions about my father's life, everybody agrees on one thing: his unconditional love for this, his only family. I'm a person who wishes to be remembered for his own deeds, not for his father's. I hope that the reader will not forget about me as he reads these stories, nor confuse me with my father. After all, this is my story too. Chapter 1. Betrayal. In the Residencias Tequendama apartment hotel on December 3rd, 1993, after the trip to bury my father in Medellin, our firm intention was to live as normal a life as circumstances allowed. For my mother, my sister Manuela, and me, the past 24 hours had been the most dramatic of our lives. Not only did we have to endure the agonizing pain of losing the head of the family in such a violent manner, but the funeral had been even more traumatic. A few hours after Ana Montes, the national director of the Attorney General's office, personally confirmed to us that my father had died, we had called the Campos de Paz cemetery in Medellin. They refused to perform the funeral service, and we might have had a similar experience with Jardines de Montesacro, except that relatives of our lawyer at the time,